sunshine knocking on my window.
Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the Wyatt Matters Show, where the takes are hot and the lessons can be life-changing. I'm Steve Wyatt, your host, and joining me today is a great team of co-hosts who are all going to help me get you laughing so that you will keep listening and leaning into the only hope that is absolutely guaranteed to hold you up even though the world is trying so hard to bring you down. Sound good? Well then, okay. First up is counselor and best-selling author Kimberly Herman. Hey, Kimberly.
Hello.
Yeah. Plus another author and podcaster, John Samples.
From Indiana, where Miles Turner no longer lives.
There you go. And not that anybody knows who he is. And batting cleanup is pastor and my oldest friend, Bruce Templeton.
Hey. Longest friend.
Longest friend.
I thought I was older than Bruce.
All right, this is going to be a blast, folks. I can feel it already. All right, let's jump in. Forget crypto, politics, and even cat videos. The hottest online craze of 2025 is, wait for it, sticks. Yeah, I said sticks. Not the rock band. Not those things that glow in the dark, not hockey, pixie, or corn dogs, just sticks, as in a twig that's separated somehow from a tree, sticks. And it's that stick that's making a comeback. And I say comeback because when I was a kid, sticks were about all my family could afford. So me and my buds would hike up the hill behind my house, and we'd use sticks to build forts, make pretend guns, footbridges to span our little creek, all kind of creative stuff, because sticks are the perfect plaything. They're dirt cheap and endlessly versatile. You can make a stick become just about anything. Well, fast forward to 2023 when Boone Hogg, man, I love that name.
Boone Hogg.
And Logan Juggler stumbled across a stick and did a video analysis on the merits of that stick and then posted it on Instagram. And like that, a sensation was born. Stick Nation is now a global movement celebrating the wonders of the lowly twig. It boasts over 3 million followers on Instagram, plus those watching along on TikTok, although they call it, what? Stick Talk. Of course they do. So this whole thing started out as a joke.
Love it.
But now they're thrilled that they're getting people off their screens and back into nature, which I find a bit ironic because you got to use your phone to record the video of the stick and then people have to watch it on their phones. So, there's that. But speaking of videos, listen as one stick fanatic describes her latest find.
I know, I'm a girl. What do I know about sticks? They said a girl couldn't find sticks, and a girl could never understand a gun stick. But here we are. It smells natural. She's got a little dirt on her. That's from the earth. We've got cracks. We've got colors. Character out the wazoo.
Got a real Einstein there. Since this is radio, I want to remind you she's talking about a stick. Okay, Jeremy, keep going.
This thing's nuts. The hand just fits so, comfortably. It really just allows you to lock it in. That ain't moving. So when I shoot and that kickback comes, I ain't budging. Bam! Bang, bang, bang!
Oh, all righty then. Okay, any of you guys, confession time, be real now, think this is kind of cool?
So I just realized I found my people. And I'm not even joking.
Okay, unpack more.
I am not even kidding. Now when I think back, because being in Phoenix, there's not many sticks around, but I grew up in Iowa where there's lots of sticks, especially after a thunderstorm. Yes, I would go out there. I was that kid that would be finding the perfect stick, not too scrawny and thin, just about, so a little bit heavy. And you can use it for anything, right? It's pretend play. I love sticks. I'm in.
So do you have a secret story about sticks? Like,
I wish I did. I was trying to think about, leading expeditions by the crick, that kind of child imaginary play. Absolutely. Cooking by the fire, pretending I was a Native American out in the wilderness, all that kind of stuff. I use sticks all the time.
Wow.
That was me.
Wow.
You're a counselor, right, Kimberly?
I am.
Are you familiar with the Freudian concept in counseling?
I am.
I think it's called a Freudian stick.
Yeah. That was good, John.
Well, I don't know about that.
That was good.
Tell me about the most fun you've ever had with a stick. Not necessarily Kimberly. She's confessed her soul.
I've confessed my secret obsession.
One of you other guys.
If you're on video, I actually brought a stick, an audiovisual opportunity here. This is a stick that I smuggled out of Israel. And when I say smuggled, I've made like 30 trips over the last 20 years. And so it was always my goal getting out of Israel to get stuck in what they call the little room when they don't believe anything you're saying and they want to, they're going to interrogate you. So I brought this stick out and it was in my carry-on and they asked me what it was. It's an olive branch is what it is. It's just off an olive tree from Abu Williams' little orchard or whatever you call them, olive tree group of trees. But I told them it was a religious relic. And my second goal in getting out of there was always to make them smile, and they did. And so as they were putting it back in my carry-on luggage, they noticed it was sitting next to this piece of barbed wire from one of their security fences, and they stopped smiling. So they let me keep the stick. They took this away, but then when I got back, I found this was in my carry-on wrapped in my extra pair of underwear. I'm sorry.
Wow, I wasn't gonna tell my stick story, but believe it or not, I have a stick that I smuggled out of Israel as well.
Wow.
Nobody ever checked any baggage or anything, but I was at the Sea of Galilee. Wow. I was absolutely enthralled with that whole experience, and I looked down, and there was a stick that had a resemblance to just what I would say was a shepherd, and Sea of Galilee, Jesus, shepherd. I just had to have it. So I grabbed it. Bruce, do you have a stick story?
Wow.
Well, you were part of my growing up years, Steve, in the hills of West Virginia. We had all kinds of sticks, stick guns, stick swords, walking sticks, stick bats. We weren't into golf growing up, but I'm sure we'd have figured out the golf stick after all golfers call their club sticks, And I guess the beauty of it all was that when the game was over, whatever we were playing with those sticks, you just discarded the stick. You didn't hold on to it. You dropped them where they stood because you could always find another stick somewhere, especially in West Virginia. I feel pretty confident, though, that this fad has a shelf life, as most fads do. Pet rocks, anybody remember those?
Yeah.
Still
This, for me, falls in the category of more stick. It's like the Three Stooges, only in this scenario, there's Larry and Curly, but there ain't no Mo. Sticks are an ever-reproducing commodity,
Yeah. I love it. The creativity that we had just to make something fun out of nothing. Yeah. But we
to
need to remember.
I'm a little removed from worshiping it. I
understand. We do have to remember all we are is twigs in the wind.
Twigs in the wind.
Oh goodness.
I don't think those are the words of that song.
Okay.
Is that the Al Yankovic version?
All right, let's move on. Okay, this story got my blood boiling, even hotter than Phoenix in July. It was supposed to be just another night at the ballpark, but then a White Sox fan took heckling way too far when he heckled Arizona D-backs star Ketel Marte. Marte's mom was killed in a horrible car crash, and Cattell found out about it at this very same ballpark. What'd that little twerp say to him? We're not really sure, but it caused Cattell to collapse in tears right on the field, right in the middle of the game. Here's what Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo had to say.
It was a terrible moment. Fans are nasty, and fans go too far sometimes. And I love my players, and I'm going to protect them. I've known Cattell for 9 years, and he's had some unbelievably great moments and some hardships as well, and some really, really tough moments in his life. And I know those. And at the end of the day, we're human beings, and we have emotions, and I saw him hurting, and I want to protect him.
Yeah. In fact, here's what Lovullo said to Cattell while he was weeping on the mound.
I love you, and I'm with you, and we're all together, and you're not alone. And no matter what happens, no matter what was said or what you heard, that guy's an idiot and shouldn't have an impact on you.
Yeah. Well, that guy got ejected from the game and banned from all future Major League Baseball events, and I say good for that. On the other side of the break, I'm going to ask Kimberly for you to give a little bit of a response to this. But before we go, I just want to remind you about our website, WyattMattersShow.com, where you can find out about resources, where you can find our show. Also encourage you to go to YouTube and subscribe and help us so that we can be found by others. Look, we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Wyatt Matters. So we've been talking about a Chicago White Sox fan that just took his fandom way too far and actually did some really awful things, said some horrible things to Cattell Marte, one of the stars of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Kimberly, I'm just going to toss it to you. This guy, his mom, I'm talking about Cattell, his mom was killed almost 8 years ago. Some say he should be over it by now. He's clearly not. Is there something wrong with him?
You know, I think a lot of us who have experienced grief, especially the kind of grief from a loved one passing, we don't get over it, right? It's not one of those things that we can just get over and, oh, yeah, that happened 8 years ago. I'm beyond that. That doesn't happen.
No.
So grief can take years to work through. And what can happen when you're not expecting someone to bring something up like that, it'll take you off guard. And you can go back right into the tears and everything. I think that's what happened to Cattell. I'm sure it's been 8 years, so I'm sure he's worked through a lot of things. But when you're least expecting it, it can rattle you. Yeah. So if someone's been, if someone out there is listening and your loved one passed away several years ago and you find yourself still crying, often, then it's time to get some support for grief counseling. There are stages of grief. There are 5 universally known stages from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Those are the most well-known. Grief counselors might have other stages, which could be a little bit more helpful than just the 5, but the 5 is a good place to start. You can Google what those are and learn more about them. It's denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then the last one's acceptance.
Yeah.
This is not a linear process, though. That's what everybody kind of gets confused. So Cattell might have been in a place of acceptance with accepting his mom passed, but out of the blue, I mean, it can really rattle you. So it's not linear. Even though he's at acceptance, he could be brought back to a different stage.
Yeah.
You can't rush the process of healing.
Thank you for that. I do want to say on the other side, I love passionate fans. I really do. The you at a basketball game, or air ball, or after a major win singing, "We are the champions, my friend." But when you cross the line into taunting a man about his dead mother, and that's not a one-off either. Just a month ago, also in Chicago, Liam Hendricks, a cancer survivor, Liam Hendricks is a cancer survivor, and he was heckled by a fan who shouted that he didn't deserve to live and that the cancer should have killed him. No, true story. True story. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
And earlier this season, a Cleveland fan taunted Boston's Jaron Duran about his recent suicide attempt. I'm just saying, there's a huge
Unbelievable
difference, yes, between being a loudmouth and being a lowlife.
Yeah.
And it seems as though, John, we're choosing the latter, not just in sports arenas, but in all of life. How did we become such a dumpster fire?
Well, I think the short version is we've just traded empathy for algorithms. You know, the louder you yell, the more clicks you get. The more clicks you get, the more you can monetize, blah, 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 blah. Welcome to Planet Cringe, which, in my opinion, is all fueled by our 24/7 corporate media shills calling us out to hate each other, except when we watch their channel. Mm-hmm. Bruce, that's stirred in the pot now. Now you season the soup, buddy.
Yeah, well, I've talked about this before, and there's no end to it. There was a time when we were a kinder, gentler people. But today, everybody mouths off. Somebody said we've gotten meaner than a rattlesnake with a toothache. There's common decency, very little today in our world today. And people feel they can get away with saying anything, or they rip somebody to shreds. And then they follow it with a JK, like, hey, kidding. I just ripped you to shreds. But I'm just kidding. The Apostle Paul gives us great advice in Romans 12:18. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. We can do very little about the mouthy media, politicians, offensive loudmouth fans, but we can monitor what sets us off and avoid those triggers, and we can try to make this world a better place for others by keeping our trabs shut if something less than noble is about to come out.
Oh, that's a good word. That's a good word.
Yeah, that's good, Bruce.
How else, John, can we fix this thing?
Fix what thing? Other people's bad behavior?
Yeah.
we fixed that with our own bad behavior, right? Can you say The Handmaid's Tale? I mean, we're worried so much about such things, and we get so worked about losing our traditions to such people, we forget that everything is always changing, or at least it has been so far.
Yeah.
So I think we have to fix this one person at a time, Mr. Wyatt. And that one person is always ourselves. But I'm pretty sure that such a declaration would not make for a successful election campaign or even a cable news audition. But I still think it's the truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
I think we need to figure out how to counteract the crudeness with civility, to your point, John. When someone is a rude loudmouth, we respond with a kind word. Hold the door for someone. Just do those old, wonderful civil acts of what they used to call it, random acts of kindness.
There you go.
Man,
there's an idea.
There you go. We need to reintroduce that.
Steve, I don't mean to be argumentative here, but
you're the one who said do it one life at a time.
Yeah. But you said when the next guy does something, then respond with an act of kindness. But for me, I've got to make sure I'm not the idiot doing something. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's
yeah. You'll have to take it up with you'll have to take it up with Jesus, though. He's the one that said turn the other cheek. I'm just quoting him.
Okay, then.
Wait a minute.
Go right to the top, dude.
Here we go. Watch this, Steve. See that? All right. Just drop my mic for all your radio folks.
Okay. That was good.
Drop Steve's mic.
Hey, Bruce, you got 30 seconds. Can you wrap this up?
Hey, be nice, people. And it starts, as John said, with me. Open the door for somebody. Compliment somebody. I had a lady walk by me yesterday and say, "I love your shirt." It was the old guy's rule, shirt. But she said she loved my shirt, and I thought, well, thank you very much, and it made my day.
That's good. All right, guys.
Little things, right?
We will be right back. If someone were to ask you, what are you currently hoping for, as in right now, in this very moment, what's at the top of your hope list, how would you answer? If you live in a place like Phoenix, you're probably hoping for temps in the double digits rather than the blast furnace temps we're currently getting. Or maybe you're hoping that Amazon Prime will last 365 days instead of 3. But maybe you are hoping for something way more significant, like a promotion you've been angling for or a pregnancy you've been praying for. Then again, maybe what you're hoping for is a relationship, maybe one that's broken or one you don't yet have. Whatever it is you're hoping for, all of us are hoping for something. Let's face it, all humans are all hopers. We just are. God made us this way. In His infinite wisdom, He hardwired all of us to be people of hope. And here's the thing about hope. If you're hoping for anything, and I mean anything at all, it's because your current circumstance isn't as you wish it was. Something is missing. Things aren't lining up. Life just doesn't feel right. And so you're hoping that things get better. When my late wife got metastatic breast cancer and endured 18 months of aggressive treatment, and then when she stopped by heaven to meet Jesus and decided to stay, to say that my life wasn't lining up, a massive understatement. And then when a cop knocked on my door and informed me that if I didn't get to the hospital immediately, I was a dead man, I wasn't just discontent. My world was scrambled. And when my son called to tell me that my middle daughter had suddenly died, my life felt so beyond repair. What I'm saying is the beginning of hope always starts with discontent. If you're hoping something will happen, it's because you're not enjoying what is currently happening. If you hope that your marriage could one day be like their marriage, it's because something in your marriage is missing. If you're single but hope to be married someday, it's because there's something about being single that feels incomplete. And if you're married but wish you were single, well, that's just plain wrong. Okay, let's be clear on that. Someone once said we can live about 40 days without food, 3 days without water, and before brain damage, about 8 minutes without air. But we can only make it 1 second without hope. And I think that's just about right. On the Phoenix campus of Mayo Clinic, 2 private streets divide an otherwise massive parking lot. These streets intersect right in front of the main entrance into the building where I received my new kidney. Those streets are named fittingly Hope Drive and Healing Road. Sometime after my surgery, I stood at that intersection, and I observed something that to me is still remarkable. You see, although Hope Drive is surrounded by hundreds, maybe even thousands of parking spaces, the drive itself has none. No off-ramps, not even a deceleration lane. Why? Because on Hope Drive, you gotta drive. Idling in place is just not an option. You can't park there either because it isn't Hope Rest Area, it's Hope Drive. As I thought about that, I realized there's a lot of truth in that. Because if you really want hope to get you to the healing place where you want to be, you got to keep moving in that direction. In my often interrupted life, I've witnessed this at work so many times, that hope isn't hope unless you are pursuing. When hope is what you want, hope is what you must do. It's not just an emotion that you feel, though we certainly can. And at times we do experience a hopeful feeling that lifts our spirits, even if just temporarily. This hopeful feeling can also cause us to embrace a challenging new day with optimism. The problem is hopeful feelings are fleeting. They come, but then just as quickly they go. But hope, I'm talking about the rock-ribbed, strong, secure, anchor for the soul kind of hope that the Bible talks about. That's not just emotion. It is something you do. Just yearning for something better, that's not hope. That's wishing upon a star. It's what you feel when you hope you win the lottery or hope you get a tax refund. You don't know, you're not sure it can even happen, but man, it'd be great if it did. But when hope is real, there's an action that you are taking, a behavior that you're putting into motion, an attitude that drives you upward even when you're climbing against insurmountable odds. We'll be right back. During my kidney battle, I came across a Bible verse that I drilled into and held on to, especially during those awful months on dialysis. It says, "We always give thanks to God for you, constantly mentioning you in our prayers and remembering," here's the part I want you to hear, "your work of faith, your labor of love, and your steadfastness of hope in our Lord Jesus." So I want you to see what I saw. The first thing is that faith, it's not something you have. We say, have faith, brother. No, faith isn't something you hold. Faith is work. And it demands a great effort, sweat even. And love? Love isn't a warm, fuzzy feeling. Real love, the verse says, is a labor. It's a strenuous exertion, even to the point of exhaustion. And then there's hope. Hope, if it truly is hope, it's steadfast. That means it hangs in there, no matter what. Lose your job, your home, your health, but if your hope is real, you keep pressing on and holding on with a bulldog tenacity that will not throw in the towel. No, true hope, real hope, keeps moving, and I mean relentlessly so, in the direction of the healing it desires. Listen up, because this is pure gold. The faith, hope, and love that will help you reach your desired destination, it is going to demand from you, according to this verse, work, labor, and a single-minded persistence. Those are not lean back in your recliner words. Those words are sweat words. But there is enormous value received when you invest that effort. Because here's what Paul maintains: your work will lead to faith, your labor will lead to love, and your steadfastness will lead to hope. There's another Bible verse where this same trio of heroes gets called out, except in this passage, faith, hope, and love are essentially called, get this, the greatest virtues ever. And they're called great because these attributes will outlast every other attribute, every other, which is why there's nothing greater than these three. You know the verse. Now these three remain. Another version says these things will last forever. Faith, hope, and love, but the greatest is love. In other words, when the dust has settled and human history is no more, all that will remain is faith, hope, and love. And they will remain because they alone possess the power needed to see that you will also remain as you find your way into God's perfect completion. And until that day, faith, hope, and love alone will see you through whatever you're going through. But remember, to get there, it's not easy, and it will require effort. Remember, faith is work, love is labor, and hope will demand from you an unshakable endurance. Why do you keep pounding on this, Wyatt? Because these qualities are not going to wait for you, and they're not going to come after you either. You have to pursue them. On March 8th, 2019, I was told that my life hung in the balance. For the next nearly 4 years, I fought to hold on to my life. But my fiercest battle was to remain in a place of active hope. And what a battle it was. Everywhere I looked, my story seemed grim, my future uncertain. I had no clue whether a kidney would come available for me, but as I waited with all this uncertainty, the dialysis kept just draining the strength from my body every other day, 4 hours per session. Out goes the blood from my body to be cleaned and the impurities removed and then back into my body. All of that happening during COVID, so I sat all alone in the single most depressing room I've ever experienced. No hope there, no joy. Every day it was another battleground, with the greatest opponent being my own resolve. I had to fight every day to not stop fighting. Now, given my life story, you might think that by now I've got hope stone cold. I'm the expert. After all, I spent my young adulthood building a great church in America only to have to walk away. And then my late wife, Cindy, got cancer and went to heaven to be with Jesus. I've had so many orthopedic issues. I have had 30 surgeries over the course of my life. Add in a rollover accident last fall on the freeway, the sudden death of my daughter a year and a half ago, and that's just the short list. You'd think with all of that I'd be a hope genius. But that's what's so maddening about hope. Although hope is a learned trait, it's never fully learned. You don't complete the syllabus, ace the final, get the diploma, and graduate. Now you're a lifelong student in the University of Hope. Sitting in that dialysis room, the single most depressing room I've ever experienced, I'd watch my fellow pilgrims, most who had lost their hope a long time ago. They'd slump in their chairs and 4 hours later shuffle their way home. Everybody there said they wanted hope, but the effort required to pursue hope seemed long gone. And I know because I was battling the same emotions. But hope is what you do, right? I think I heard somebody say that. So instead of waiting for healing to come to me, I had to pursue it. I had to press and push and pray. I made phone calls. I did my own research. I took ownership over my own recovery. I simply refused to give up. In the end, it was totally a God thing that brought me to where I am today. He found a kidney for me. He chose this wonderful woman with a fearless generosity and brought us together in a way that only He can. But what I could do, I had to do. And so I did. I pursued hope. Let me say one last thing. If you really want to learn how to do hope, find somebody like me who has been knocked around, but who is still passionate about life. Watch as he limps around, and then ask him why or how he keeps doing what he's doing. Especially ask him if he's still smiling. But let me warn you in advance, if he's a true veteran of hope, when you first ask him, he'll probably shrug and claim not to know much at all about hope. Can't help you, son. But don't listen to what he says. Watch what he does. Check out the tear stains on her cheek. And if you see those white swollen knuckles, please know those are the wounds of someone who will not stop holding on to hope, even when there seems to be no hope. Then after you've taken good notes on the things that you have seen, start doing your own hope. Just move in that direction. You'll probably stink at it at first, but mastering hope takes practice and you'll never fully arrive. But keep repeating the effort. Keep moving toward the healing you say you desire. And like a muscle, your hope will grow. Hope thrives in the heart of the one who stubbornly refuses to give up. Without hope, none of us can survive. When all hope is gone, we are all goners. So whatever is pressing in against you, press on anyway. And don't ever, not ever, put your life in park. Keep making your way on Hope Drive. And in time, over time, in God's perfect time, you will arrive at your glorious destination, the place where you've always wanted to be but never thought you could be. The name of that place is Healed. And oh, what a place it is. And if you happen to see a 70-year-old man still moving at a fairly decent pace, sporting an extra kidney and bearing a smile as wide as the gap in Michael Strahan's teeth, stop and say hi. And yeah, I did say stop. Because when you get to the intersection of Hope Drive and Healing Road, that's a very fine place to park.
Good stuff, Steve.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, I was approached just a couple of days ago by a guy who was at the rock bottom of his barrel due to his alcoholism and other issues, and he was asking me, how could he live without hope? And he clearly didn't think he could. I was immediately transported back to a time in my life 6 or 7 years ago, a time when I thought my life was over because of my own behaviors, and I didn't dare hope that I would ever be forgiven in this life or the next one. But something from my upbringing or Sunday school or just knowing the stories of some friends reminded me that hope is real, and even though I couldn't find the hope, I remembered enough to hope for the return of hope. I know that sounds cheesy and trite and convenient or whatever words you want to put on it, but I also know that telling that story again to this man that I'd never met before brought us both to tears. And him saying, thanks, I really needed that. And I realized I needed the reminder too. So, yeah, man, it's strong stuff, man. Thank you.
Yeah, when we're going through something so difficult, you don't know how to find hope because you just feel like you're at the bottom. But when you can find someone that's been through it and they've come out to the other side, oh my goodness, that is hope, right? They're breathing that hope on you so that you can look to know that you're going to have a better day. Might not be today, but there's a better day coming. And I love how you broke down hope, Steve. All of this, faith, love, and hope. It's beautiful. It is work. And it's that nice reminder. We can't sit there and just hope, oh, yeah, everything's going to be fine and just not do anything about it. You do have to work.
The Apostle Paul wrote a great passage in Romans 15 when he wrote, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit." And that's key, I think, when we consider, when hope dies, maybe check the level of the Spirit in our lives, and say, okay, I need the Spirit to fill me because that is the resource that I need to get me through another day with hope.
Yeah.
That's right on.
When I was in the dialysis room, it was such a sad, awful place. And, they recommended that you bring a blanket and, there were little TVs you could watch and headphones so that nearly everyone in the room just wrapped up in this self-made cocoon. And it was just such an awful thing, and I watched that for a couple of sessions, and that's when I determined this hope is what you do mantra for me, and so I brought my laptop and a lap desk, and I went to work, and some of this writing that I shared today I wrote then. And, I'm not saying that as some kind of hero. I'm just saying I learned the hard way that hope is action oriented, and so that's always my first answer. People want to feel something when it comes to hope, but feeling is just it's a diversion. It is, I think, a tool of the devil to make us even more hopeless than we already are. Anyway, wow. Okay. This is a happy, laughy show, so
Thank you for that.
we'll try to do better next time. See you next time on Wyatt Matters.
I hope so.
Sunshine serotonin. It's a good day to have a great